So as we visit with you, we have only one intention really, and that is to help you to allow yourself to be all that you really are, because we know that there isn't anything that will bog you down. There isn't anything that will bum you out. There isn't anything that will break your heart. There isn't anything that will disappoint you. There isn't anything that will hurt you in any other way. There is nothing. There is no assertion of anything unwanted. The only thing that ever could cause pain to you is you not allowing you to be you. That's all. That's all it is. So when you get that and you recognize that moment by moment you're having emotional guidance that lets you know, hey, I'm me. You know how I know I'm me? I'm frisky. I feel fabulous. I'm clear-minded. I'm flexible. I feel good about life. I want to romp. I want to skip. I want to sing. And so everything that we talk about is about you being consciously aware of this possible gap and then deliberately doing something about closing it by reaching for the thoughts that feel better, by reaching for the thoughts that allow you to be all that life has caused you to become. So you're focused upon something just because you want to feel good, and you're in the vortex. But when you're in the vortex, because you remember not being in there, you sure like it when others are in there because you want them to feel good like you've discovered. And then you notice someone not in. But because they're not in, they can't hear you. And when you talk vortexy, they think you're nuts. And when you talk optimistically, when they stand in the face of what they're facing, and even when they're looking at manifestations that they don't quite see for you, then they call you delusional. So then, because your desire to help them is so strong, you exit the vortex to help them. And now you got nothing to give them. Well, you see, we're asking something pretty significant of all of you. We're asking you to ignore the reality that's had nearly your undivided attention and to hang your star on your emotions just for a little while, because we know when you do it, your reality will flip. That's what faith is. Faith is finding the vibration without the evidence that backs it up. And most people are looking for the evidence out here in reality. We say we love working with terminally ill people because they finally are the only ones that will do the real work. Because as long as there's one more thing you can do, one more thing you can wrestle to the ground, most of you will do it. It isn't until something gets your attention and you accept that it's the vortex work, it's the alignment with who you are, that you begin to feel your full power, you see. So what happens as you're interacting with other people, it's very common that your desires are similar. In fact, you co-create with your mate. You've co-created such magnificent things in your vortex. You're tied together in a very, very powerful way. But when either of you is not in vibrational proximity to the vortex, it doesn't matter where the other one is, because if you're not there, you can't feel it. And so what we're really saying to you is, and it's hard to hear, but we really want you to hear it, you have to be willing to ignore what everybody else is doing and make your relationship with your vortex the most important relationship that you have. Here's what we would do if we were standing in your physical shoes. We would end every day by putting ourselves in bed, say goodnight to everyone with the idea that you're not going to talk any further. And as you're drifting off to sleep, we would go as general as we can into a place of appreciation. Appreciate your pillow. Appreciate the air conditioning in the house. Appreciate the roof over your head. Appreciate just the simplest things that don't challenge you in any way. Just appreciate. And if you can drift off to sleep in appreciation, if you go to sleep in the vortex, you'll wake up in the vortex. It's just the way that it is, because your vibration is where you last left it. So when you waken in the morning, let your first thoughts be, oh, I like that feeling of appreciation. And then if you can do a little bit of basking just to keep it going. In other words, it's so much easier to start with the vortex and let the vortex affect reality than it is to face reality and then try to drag reality into the vortex. Because law of attraction is amplifying wherever you're at. So if you have a relationship with someone who's really verbal, and so are you, and the conversation's going on around you a lot about what is, you make it hard for you to catch a moment where the vortex can take you in. Now feel this picture. So you've put all of this into your vortex, and this larger part of you stands as the summoner of you. You're being called home to the fullness of who you are constantly. And the reason that you feel every emotion that you feel is because when you're being called home and you're non-resistant, you go, which is the elation. When you are being called home to who you are and you're non-resistance, it feels like passion, it feels like appreciation, it feels like love, it feels like the heavens are opening, as you said. But if you've been talking it up about things that aren't working, and you've been opening the door and you've been noticing that what you're looking for isn't there, and the vortex is calling you, it feels like tension when you don't go. So the more you can relax and let the vortex take you, then not only the better you feel, and then you can begin counting your blessings, so to speak, making lists of positive aspects, but the more manifestations will show up that you can then begin reiterating. It would sound crazy to a normal person to hear Esther crowing about being called with no shoes to the gravel so that she could walk into the closet with no shoes on so that she could discover a problem that she didn't know she had. But to Esther, that was manifestation that indicates that the universe is looking out for me and that I'm in the vicinity, that I'm being called and letting it happen through the path of least resistance. That's what that feeling of worthiness is. The feeling of worthiness is the knowledge that you're good and Source knows it, and you just get this wonderful exposure to life that is building your vortex bigger and better and bigger and better and bigger and better, bigger and better and bigger and better. Jerry and Esther are having such an interesting experience. They've been moving through life. Everything imaginable has come for them. 5 books on the New York Times, a couple of them #1. Everybody wants that. That was something that unfolded. More money than they have any sensible use for. A lifestyle that is rivaled by no one. Beautiful houses all over the place. Driving monster buses around the country. People adoring them. The message moving through them. Everything wonderful. And yet still more room for deepness. Deepness in their relationship, deepness in their understanding of worthiness, deepness in their understanding that all things are possible, deepness in their understanding that it doesn't matter what is, that you have the ability to focus upon what you want and find it, deepness in understanding your true power. In other words, there is no end to what is in your vortex, and the vortex's ability to bring to you greater clarity, greater knowing, greater love, greater confidence, greater security, greater well-being, greater understanding that you are a being with no end to the capacity of your expansion. So, we have some manifestation cards. This particular one is health and the law of attraction. These are money and the law of attraction. These are the best manifestation cards that have ever been put together on the face of the earth. We wrote them. So let's say that you're having a hard time financially, or there is something not going right in your life. And in this case, let's say it's finances. And so you've heard about these wonderful cards, and you've heard about affirmation. And so you say, I'm going to do something about shifting my energy. I'm going to do something about improving my point of attraction relative to money. I'm going to study these cards. And life has been hard for me, you say, and I don't have enough money, and this is going to help. I know it is. And so you take the cards and you begin. You say, I do not need to have money to attract money. Well, that's fortunate. I have control over the thoughts I think. Sure, I do. My financial success does not require hard work. I'm going to mail this to my employer. There is no shortage of money or time. Who writes this stuff? The law of attraction adds power to both problems and solutions. That sucks. So the point that we're making is that when you are outside the vortex, when you're outside what you want, when you're not feeling good, when you're not tuned in, tapped in, turned on, when you are focused upon something that is going wrong and you decide, I will affirm, I will speak the positive words, we want you to understand that what you really do is you just dig in your heels and amplify the energy right where you are. It's sort of, have you ever had an argument with someone or a disagreement where you're sure that they're wrong and they're sure that you're wrong, and you're just sort of nose to nose, both speaking what you know is the right thing and neither one hearing the other one at all, and both of you digging in deeper and being sure about the rightness of your position? Well, you do that with yourself when you try too hard, when you effort, when you try to motivate yourself from outside the vortex. So what we're saying to you is, this business of creating, it's not about action, it's not about words, it's about vibrational alignment. It's about allowing yourself to become a vibrational match to who you really are. When you affirm from outside the vortex, when you effort, when you struggle, when you try, all that happens is you amplify the vibration of resistance that you've already got going on. And you make yourself unavailable to the vortex that really wants you, the vortex who is calling you. Sometimes as we visit with our physical friends, and you are a group who could very well be completely accepted from this because you seem to know who you are. But often our physical friends are so focused upon the manifestation of what is, that they let all of their emotional response be to what is manifested. And we want to constantly remind them that what's manifested is old news. That where it's really at is in this vortex. Where it's really at is it's in this energy that's moved forward. Where it's really at and where your joy really is in the getting up to speed with all that you have become. Now, we don't want to give you any misunderstanding. You can never really get completely up to speed with everything that you are because you're continually expanding. The contrast that you're living is causing you to continue to ask, and because you continue to ask, the larger part of you continues to become, and that larger part of you continues to call you home to who you are. And you can tell by the way you feel whether you're going or not. Now, we want to say to you, you're going. You're going. The question is, are you going willingly? Because when you have your death experience, you will go. In other words, this vortex will have its way with you. You will become the whole of all that you are. We just don't think you should have to croak to come into alignment with who you are. We think that you have the ability to feel your way there. We think you can love your way into alignment. We think you can praise your way into alignment. We think you can compliment your way into alignment. We think you can dance your way into alignment. We think you can love your way into alignment. And we know, and you know too, we've never seen anyone motivate themselves into the vortex. Because the vortex is who you really are, and it's always summoning you. It's the inspiration that takes you in. So if someone is standing outside the vortex, criticizing you for something, trying to motivate you, it's sort of like standing outside trying to kick you in. And we say, you really don't need anyone to help you into your vortex, because you have the energy that creates worlds in there summoning you. You have the source within you in there summoning you. You have all that you have become in there summoning you. You just got to know that this state of being exists. And you just got to know that how you feel is your indicator of whether you're aligned with who you are or not. And then do whatever it takes moment by moment to do it. We have enjoyed this interaction more than words can convey. It's very nice coming together with those like you who are coming to understand more and every day who you really are. It is exhilarating to us to acknowledge the physicalness that is you, especially as you begin to deliberately, and you are rare in this, to integrate the non-physical part of that which is you into your day-to-day experiences. You are more than these physical bodies, aren't you? You are source energy expressing here. And you've come not because the world is broken and in need of repair, but because you are a creator who will constantly, eternally expand.